everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am Noor and thank you so much for joining me in another video. So today I have a book review for you guys, and the book that I am going to talk about is The Casual Vacancy by J.K. Rowling. So before I start talking about this book, you guys have to know that I've never read anything from J.K. Rowling. I have never read her Harry Potter series. I have no idea how she writes. I'm going to this book with no expectations whatsoever, and I have this book for around 2 years, but I never really pick it up to read it, mainly because of the reviews that goes around this book. There are a lot of mixed reviews in Goodreads, and a lot of people are saying that it is not the same as Harry Potter, it's not as magical or as fantasy-like as Harry Potter. So I was really skeptical in going to this book. I do not know what to expect. I was so afraid that it will disappoint. But nevertheless, I gave this book a chance because I do not like to buy books and not read it. Quite honestly, I really enjoyed it. I am quite obsessed with The Casual Vacancy now. The Casual Vacancy is an adult novel from J.K. Rowling, and I believe this is her first adult novel. And it tells a story about this small town called Peckford, and in this small town there is this council which is known as the parish council. So one fine day, one of the council member named Barry Fairbrother dies because of a brain aneurysm. Because of that, the whole town was shaken and in shock. Some of the people in this town are affected. Some of them are affected a lot more than others. Some are really saddened about Barry Fairbrother's loss, and some are overjoyed with his death, because then there is this casual vacancy where there is this vacancy in this council, and there could be an election where people would run for this election so that they could go into the council. There are a lot of themes in this book. There is politics, there is family, there is heavy topics like rape and drugs. So it's very heavily filled with adult themes. So if you're expecting it to be Harry Potter, if you're expecting it to be magical or mysterious, then it's not. It is quite honestly a book filled with politics, everyday things like people gossiping about one another. First of all, there's this political theme. I think that is the most apparent subject in this book. They talk about the parish council and how they are trying to demolish the rehabilitation center in their town, and how they are trying to get rid of this small little place called the Fields. In the Fields, there are all these people who are of lower income, and some of them are drug addicts, and some of them have family problems. It's quite messy in the Fields. So the parish council want to try as much as they can to get rid of the fields and push the responsibility of taking care of the fields to the next town called Yarville, I believe. So it's very political in that sense. They are trying to push away these lower social economy people. They do not want to get to know or to be acquainted with these kind of people, and with that you can see how much they will do just to get rid of these people from the fields, which is very devastating. And that's how Barry Fairbrother comes into picture. He is the one who brings the fields into Peckford and try to connect the people of Peckford with the people in the fields. He's a spokesman for the fields, and he is trying his very best to bring the issues of the fields into light in the council. When he died, unfortunately, the issue of the fields start to get muted and nobody wants to talk about it, and as much as they can, they want to just push them aside. So we can see the politics in it, and how some of Barry Fairbrother's friends try to put the issue of the fields into light in the council, and you can see how some people in the council are just disgusting and they are just mean, and they just do not want to get to know anything got to do with the fields. At the same time, there's all these smaller issues like family relationship and friendship. We can see the relationship between certain families and how their parents treat their kids, and how their kids do not like their parents. Quite honestly, I'm not really interested in politics, but I find that J.K. Rowling managed to make the whole political issue in this book very comical, and we could see the very humorous dark side of politics and what certain people would do to the extent of trying to gain that seat and trying to get their voice heard. There are a lot of characters in this book. When I start reading this book, we are introduced with all these characters. In the first couple of chapters, there are all these characters that you meet, and quite honestly, it's very confusing. There are so many people that we have to meet, so many people we have to get to know. We can see how these characters revolve around Barry Fairbrother and how important they are to him. We can see that some of the characters are really deeply affected by his death, and some were super overjoyed. But after a while, you kind of get a hang of who is who. After all, Paxford is a really small town. All the characters are repetitive, so after a few chapters, you get acquainted with these characters. J.K. Rowling did a really good job in trying to make each character distinct. It gets better after that once you get past all this character building and getting to know all these characters. I feel like the characters are really realistic. All of the characters are not really likable. There are not many that you could like. Some of them are just harsh and you just feel like you want to slap their face, and some of them are just really pitiful. I really like the diversity of the characters in this book. The characters are also real, they are really filled with flaws, and I like how J.K. Rowling puts all these characters, and I like how J.K. Rowling diversified the characters and make the characters as real and as relatable as possible. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. I like J.K. Rowling's writing. It's really well written and I'm quite obsessed with her writing right now. I really enjoyed it. I really like the whole political issue in it. Quite honestly, it's not for everyone's liking. It can be quite boring at certain times, especially if you're not interested in politics. I felt like I've gotten a lot from this book. I felt like I have squeezed every single essence from this book and I have enjoyed it so much. I felt really satisfied when I read this book. So share with me in the comments down below if you have read The Casual Vacancy and what you thought about it. And if you are planning to read it, then what are you expecting from the book? If you like this video, then thumbs up. And if you have yet to subscribe to my channel, then go ahead and click that subscribe button. I will be very appreciative because you subscribe to me, and if you want to see more of my face, then you can subscribe there. Yeah, until then, I'll see you guys in my next video. Chill out!